Hi and welcome back. This is Anna Kutsia from Accelerated Excellence and True Awakenings NLP Coaching and Training Center. And today I want to talk to you about a universal law called cause and effect. And what does it mean and how does it affect your life? And how does it feel? How do I get to a point of being truly empowered? And is it even possible? And is it true? So a lot of the topics that I've discussed so far, fundamentally, all of them really wants to put us in a position of feeling totally empowered. The intention is to put the power and the control and the responsibility back into your hands. So why would that be? How would that be useful for you? So think about it logically. Every type of, and you might better know it as action creates a reaction. Now, let me use this coronavirus as an example. This is how I apply it in my life. So what does this mean to me is, okay, I am choosing to accept that consciously or unconsciously. Obviously, I didn't look in the mirror and go, how am I going to create a lockdown? How am I going to create a coronavirus? I didn't even know it existed, right? So obviously, consciously, I made no decision to create this experience. But I do have 100% control of how I describe and label this experience to myself. I'm at cause for the description I attach to the actual environment that I'm experiencing. So let me think about it in this way. So a year ago, I started contemplating, hey, I have this main value of wanting to heal the world, not implying that everybody's broken, but that the system is broken. And so I want to help and heal and upgrade people because there's a lot of stuff in the unconscious, in these programs that's running that's causing havoc, causing ill health, all sorts of things. People are not living a happy life, fundamentally, right? So we all want to be happy. If there's a universal outcome that most of my clients want, they end up saying, I just want to be happy, and then they feel like that is such a silly little thing to focus on. So obviously that's my intent, is to help people just reach that full potential in their own life, to unleash their true selves, to become truly awakened to who you are and what you're capable of doing, and also for you to have anything that you can be, anything, have anything, and do anything that you want. Obviously, there's a process involved in detail that get you there. So being at cause for that outcome, that's the intention of wanting to make a difference, helping people. So obviously, as a one-on-one coaching method, there's only so many people I can see, so many hours in the day. Even if I do trainings, there's only so many people that I can put in a room, and that type of thing on a face-to-face level. So how do I get to heal or upgrade or transform the planet if I'm only going to see people face-to-face, right? So, but a little more than actually been there from the beginning, but more than a year ago, falling pregnant, I was thinking, okay, right now is the time, because obviously there's going to be a shift in my values, and being a mom is going to allocate more time to certain other things that I didn't have to before. So how do I still achieve my outcome in my career and have the values of a mom being met? So thinking about an online program and how to create an online program and what content and what flow and everything else that's involved, because there's certain elements that needs intervention, that needs someone, depending on how deep the programming lies, that working with someone in a collaborative way causes you to unearth those things because you don't even know that they're there. So there is an element of needing to work with someone depending on the depths of some of these beliefs and experiences and traumas from the past, right? So an online program, right? Let me get back to my intent. So how do I create a coronavirus? Well, here I am thinking about how do I create more time, allocate more time in order to get this online product up and going and to be able to reach people globally and not just face-to-face in terms of personally having to be there. So in this lockdown phase is me being at cause saying, well, I'm going to choose to look at it as an opportunity to do just that. For me, there's only so many of my clients that I'm still seeing, and it's getting me into a online coaching space, face-to-face online, as well as these pre-recorded videos, is also pre-recordings that I'm doing for the online coaching program. So cause and effect. How did I create this? I don't know how I created this. There's 11 million bits of choice available, which I land up around 50 with. According to Dr. Bruce Lipton and some of his studies, they say we even land up with only 40 of those multiple amount of bits that's running around. And so if I'm only landing up with such a small amount, so consciously and unconsciously, I choose to say that I have created this experience in my reality. I'm experiencing that. I can't deny it. It's here. I am experiencing it. How do I want to go through this process? Do I want to go through this process empowered or feeling disempowered? So do I want to say to myself, they have caused me, they out there is forcing me, they have taken my time away. They are forcing me to stay at home and to stay in lockdown. Or am I unconsciously choosing to agree with the suggestions of, lockdown rules? So obviously there are consequences if I don't choose to agree to those rules. And it's based on those consequences that I say, what do I want to experience? Do I want to create an easy experience, and do I want to use this and be at cause and take action in a way that creates a reaction that I'm looking for? So action creates reaction. How I speak to people, how I behave, how I express will cause people to respond a certain way. Now, imagine going to the shop and getting to the till, and how many times have you been daydreaming? How many times have your mind been somewhere else and you get to speak to someone, but you're not really there? So I like, when I get to the till, I like to try and get their attention so that they can look at me. So when normally you get some of them will say, hi, morning, how are you? Others would say, bag. And I normally use that and say, are you calling me a bag? Or are you asking me if I want one? So really that gets them to look up, and then I smile and say, thank you, I've got one, or, help you if I don't have one with me. And usually the moment we as human beings connect through looking at each other in the eyes, then we actually smile, or there's a real connection taking place. Now that person behind the till, I don't even know them. So am I doing it for them, or am I doing it for myself? Being at cause is causing me to behave a certain way for the experience I want to experience, to look after the effects. So when I leave there, I feel like I'm having a good day because I'm kind and polite to people, and I'm creating a connection to a total stranger. I remember driving with a friend of mine, and we stopped at a fuel station just around the corner from my office, and the fuel attendant came to my car, and he had his name badge on. I think his name was John, if I remember correctly. It's a couple of years ago. And I said, good morning, John, how are you? How's it going? It's hot out today. Thank you for standing in the sun and doing your job, and and spoke to him a little bit, and then he filled up the car, and my friend said, oh, do you stop here often? And I said, no, it's actually the first time I've ever stopped here. And he's like, but you're speaking to this guy like you've known him for years. I said, well, he has the name tags on with a name, so I thought I'd use it. That's why they gave him one. And when I left there, he was smiling, I was smiling. Action creates reaction, right? So am I doing it for John? Well, I don't even know John. So it might sound selfish, but that's how we operate as human beings. All of our filters and all of our intentions are based on who we are and what we're going to get from it, whether we'd like to admit it or not. And that doesn't make us selfish, because when your cup is full, what spills over is what we give away. The cup runneth over, and that's what we end up spreading all over the world. So if you're in a good space, you have a positive effect on everybody else. On the effect side of life is when we feel like we don't have anything, any choice, any power, any decision making. This is where we feel like life is happening to us, things are being done to you, and I have no power there. So that is a very frustrating, very disempowering time for you to, experience whatever it is that's in your environment at the moment. So moving to cause puts power back in your hand. Yes, it's very responsible, and it's going to take a bit of getting used to, because we are used to feeling that things are happening to us, and we are based on old science, we actually believe that that's how it worked. So now that science has changed and quantum physics has given us more information, and we realize how we affect, how our thoughts create our reality, and how we experience these things, and how we are playing our part at being at cause in these events, then we can actually take a little bit more control and say, what else can I control? If I am truly empowered, then I can actually adapt a lot of things in my style, in what I do, what I say, how I behave, and that will affect how the world responds to me. So if I'm rude to people, they'll be rude back to me. If I'm understanding and as best I can be to what's happening in their world, and kind and gentle, then I can only hope then that there's enough people that I'll attract that's the same, that will be kind and gentle back to me. So what you put out is what you get back, right? So it's also about being proactive versus reactive. Are we running our lives in the sense of urgency in a reactive space, or are we trying to get proactive, right? So not taking action towards this online coaching has put me into a reactive space, and I'm choosing to become proactive and just getting it online now. Now, if I'd done that a year ago when the idea came up, I wouldn't have had to use that time now to create that. I could have used it for something else. So I own that I didn't do that. I own that the idea came up and I didn't allocate time for whatever reason. There were other things that were probably more important, like becoming a mom and, and having to make sure that through maternity leave that there was enough income to sustain both of us and our lifestyle. So certain things will take preference. That doesn't mean that it's not important. It just means that I can own when I get to a situation, go, you know what, if I had solved that problem a year ago, then I wouldn't have been in this financial difficulty, because if I don't work, I don't get paid. If I don't see clients, then there's no income. So it's simple as that. If I'd done it a year ago, there would have been some passive income perhaps, or a different financial situation for me if I'd taken action, right? So it's not about getting harsh with yourself. It's not about getting upset for not taking action. It's about learning from it, right? Just look at that feedback and say, hey, when you get an idea, try it. So what if it's not perfect the first time? At least you tried, and that feedback that you will get will refine it until you get to your version of perfect. But be at cause. Choose to be in control of your thoughts and how you process that information. That would put power back into your hands. And from an empowered point of view, you will feel like you can take the steps. You can feel like decisions to work towards what your outcomes are. We feel very disempowered. We feel like there is something happening to us out there, and to a certain extent, there is something happening to us. Unless it is physically in my world, it is still outside, right? Unless I am physically infected with this virus, I am not. So why am I spending all my attention and attention on something that's not yet real in my world and doesn't necessarily have to be? So how do I make sure it doesn't? Well, being at cause for my health, and being at cause for healthy thoughts, and being at cause for controlling my environment as best I can, and limiting trips to the shop if you don't have to, and getting online deliveries if that's possible for you. And how can I be at cause at a time like this in order for the effects to look after themselves? And then when we get out of this lockdown and we move forward with life again into what would be the new normal, how do I continue to stay at course? And I want to use the example of Kodak. Many, many years ago, when the concept of digital was presented to Kodak, Kodak was pretty much had the monopoly of photography and printing, right? So there was no need for them to change anything. They were quite comfortable. Things were working just fine. And where is Kodak today? Where is that print of the photograph today? If you can print it at home or at the office, do we actually even print them the way that we used to? So much is on digital. I've got over 1,400 photos of my six-month-old baby. Would I ever have had as many photos if I needed to pay for every single print? So digital photography has totally disrupted and innovated and transformed the world of how we experience photos in the past, and how we record those memories. And you can video them now. So there's so much that's changed. What can we learn from what would be the new normal? What is life going to look like post-lockdown? What do we need to adjust? How do I proactively prepare for that as best I can without having any feedback, without having any evidence that it will be like that? So certainly everybody has learned how to connect online way more than what we might have done before. So isn't there something in that? Isn't it time to look at your business, and even if your business is not something that can necessarily go online, what can you go online? What type of marketing strategies can go online? I mean, most people believe if you don't have a website, you don't have it's like having a shop front. If you don't have a shop front, how would people even know that your business exists? Of course, there's businesses out there that exist without it, and that you just need someone's phone number and a word of mouth would be enough. But certainly if you're trying to gather new business, proactively having a marketing strategy online is certainly going to get you more awareness, brand awareness, and bringing you more results, right? So how can we be at cause, not just for my goals, not just for this lockdown, but post-lockdown, and my life as a whole, my health, my business, my career, my job if I'm employed by someone? How do we stay at cause and feel totally empowered and take the steps forward towards what we want to achieve instead of feeling like victims, that things are happening to us and like I have no choice to how to respond to this, because we always have a choice. Every single body out there has genius capability within them. One of your brain cells is more complexly wired than the entire telephone network system in the world. So the shorter list should be, what can't you do? Or shall I say the non-existing list should be, what can't you do? If your mind can conceive it, and you can believe it, you can achieve it. Get yourself at cause, even if it's just in a state of curiosity of saying, I'd like to know how I can do that. But be proactive, do the research, look for information, look for answers. Don't take my word for it. Don't think that what I'm saying is gospel. There's many people out there that are experts that have layers and layers of information. Go search for that. Make sure that you're empowered. Give yourself the information you need to make the decisions that you need to for your life and your future. Okay, so I hope you have an amazing week of being at cause and putting in the necessary steps and getting into a habit of being that version of you, so that post this lockdown, that you are hitting the ground running. You're already running now, not then, not when I get there, I'm going to do it, but start doing it now. Start being proactive now, so that there's no need for you to be reactive. So sending you much love as always, and hoping that was useful. And the natural law of cause and effect. Let's be at cause together, and let's take charge of our lives and feel empowered, even when it feels like it is something, or that we think it's something that we don't have any control over outside in our environment, that we actually have control of how we process this. We actually have control of how I label this experience for myself, how I behave in this. So if there's people out there walking in the streets and choosing not to abide by the lockdown suggested rules, don't get so stuck on what they're doing. Just you stay at course. So locking it up with the final statement of just be the change you need to see in the world. Stop worrying about what other people are doing, because you have no control there. You have no power over what someone else is doing. You have power over you. You have control over how you decide, think, and feel and act. So be at cause, and the effects will take care of themselves. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next recording. Sending you much love as always.